Welcome to the Heart-Led Business Show, where compassion meets commerce and leaders lead with love. Join your host, Tom Jacobs, as he delves into the insightful conversations with visionary business leaders who defy the status quo, putting humanity first and profit second. From heartfelt strategies to inspiring stories, this podcast is your compass in the world of conscious capitalism. So buckle up and let your heart guide your business journey.
Get ready, folks. Today's guest isn't just a connector, he's a super connector. With a staggering $5.5 billion in projects and $125 million in partner deals, Steve Ramona doesn't just make introductions, he creates opportunities that change lives. But wait, there's more. He's the host of Doing Business with Servant's Heart, reaching 50,000 plus listeners per episode, and the creator of Together We Serve, a TV show with 1.2 million monthly viewers. If you're looking for game-changing connections and partnerships that actually work with heart, Steve's your guy. So let's dive in. Steve, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm fired up to be here.
Oh, I'm fired up too. I'm so excited to speak with you, really get into the backstory, because heart-led and 5.5 billion, that's going to be a disconnect for some people. And I'm really excited to dive in and how we can connect that and still show that you can make billions and billions of dollars and still lead with the heart. So with that said, what's your definition of heart-led business?
They're uplifting everybody they run into. They're bringing value. The law of increase, chapter 4 of Think and Grow Rich. They're following that mantra. I read it every month. Just to remind me, your competitor, your prospect, your customer, your employees, just people you run into, identify them. Whatever that value looks like, small, medium, or large, make that a constant activity that you do for your business. And I guarantee you, one, it's fun.
Yeah.
Because you're going to build relationships and meet incredible people like you, Thomas. Your revenue is going to grow. How much? We don't know that. God and the universe will do it. But if you grew 10% this year in 2025 by doing this, let me know if you'd be happy. Reach out to me. Reach out to Thomas. Ask us. Tell us.
Yeah, absolutely. And connections is the key, and the relationships of those connections too, because I know some people kind of game it and it's not really authentic. And I can see that a mile away, and most people can't. But it's those genuine connections. And that's been my mantra for the last year is how can I meet more people? And this podcast has done a great job of introducing me to great people like yourself. But also, my business is growing because of the connections that I'm making. So I'm so glad that you brought that up, and the value add that you do for other people. And it always comes back. Do you find that it comes back?
Oh, it does. Here's a tip that I had to learn a couple years ago, Thomas. Game changer in my life. Been serving for many years, putting partners together, putting people together, but I never would ask. And this guy told me he was doing $250 million a year. He said, Steve, what you're telling me is you're giving. Fantastic. But when people come to you, go, how can I help you? And I could tell you 10 instances where I go, I'm good, Thomas. No, I'm good. He goes, Steve, not good. I just gave him a bunch of gifts. I served them. He goes, you did. But when somebody comes back around and asks you to support you, they want to give you gifts back. When you say no, subconsciously they walk away and go, not top of mind.
Wow.
Because that gift giving is when you give those, Steve, how do you feel? Great. They accept them. It works out. Well, flip that around with the person you're talking to. Once I started asking, my company, 5.5 billion in projects right now because of my podcast, which to me is the new networking group, because we can control the people coming in. We're so much aligned. We're brothers from another mother.
You're right.
Because I asked. I said, hey, we're looking for this. We're looking for that. Can you help me? I get a referral a week for my business. We just launched 5 months ago. It's not a 5-year-old company. But I built a network from 63 since I'm 20, 43 years. It's finally paying off. For you out there listening, you might be 25, 30. It might pay off in 10 years. I just did it wrong. And I'm trying to change that and pay it forward. Here's what I did wrong. I never asked.
Mm.
Now when I do, big things I've had other people do. I've had credible emails. Steve, I did that. I asked this guy, and I got this multi-billionaire on my podcast. I just asked.
Yeah.
Or I got a deal. This guy brought me 2 clients because I brought him a deal. I asked, I'm looking for clients. He said, I got 2 clients. I know it works. Doesn't work all the time, and that's the key. It's not 100% guarantee, but taking the action is 100%.
Yeah, like you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. Was that Wayne Gretzky maybe that said that? Or somebody?
Or Michael Jordan?
Maybe. Some sports guy. I also like Wayne Gretzky's go where the puck is going, not where it is. And that's a great business analogy as well. But asking for that's something I've struggled with as well is, I'm a giver as well, heart-led, and people ask, like you said, and that's a good reminder. So thank you for bringing that up, that it's okay to ask.
Yeah. And what's the worst thing? It's a no.
Right.
Okay, next. When somebody says no to me, I say next, but here's a tip. And I just picked this up about months ago. I figured it out. When somebody says no to me, I serve them even more. I bring them more heart. And they're like, because I've had people come back to me later going, I want to work with you because I said no to you and you still gave.
Yeah.
Giving's not hard. Just build your resources, build your community, build your network, and start sharing it with people. It is the best feeling I call Christmas morning every day. When you wake up as a kid and you're running to the tree, what happens? You're opening that gift up. I get to do that every day. Now, some are a brand new bike and some are a new book.
Yeah.
People want to be seen. When you help them be seen by what you do they forget you? No. I've been getting referrals every day for the last 20 months. Not 20 days, 20 months. Some 5, some 3. I probably could look at my email and I have a referral. And a lot of them are, man, you got to meet Steve. Man, he's such a giver. He's got a great podcast, this and that. Don't we want to be remembered for that? Not that I pitched you and I sold you a $10,000 program and I'm $10,000 richer. No.
And for the giver, it feels good as well. Like Christmas morning, you see the kids unwrapping the gifts and their eyes lighting up. And they're like, oh my gosh. And like I don't have kids of my own, but niece and nephew. And I remember one Christmas, my niece, I got her like this princess dress. I don't know what I was thinking, but it was cute at the time. You're probably listening to this and going, oh my gosh, Uncle T. Don't tell them. But anyway, they called me Uncle T and she was just like, oh my gosh, Uncle T, I love this. And it just felt really good. And if you're telling people, no, I don't need anything, it's all good. You're taking, like you said before, you're taking that feeling away from them and then they're not going to remember you later.
Yeah. Remembering is so powerful. I'll give you an ask story. And this is through a podcast. So I had a gentleman, Zach, on a Monday, and I was going through and found out he had Forbes Riley on his show. She's done $2.53 billion in her career in fitness and entrepreneur. She's one of the top entrepreneurs. I reached out after the show and he gave him some referrals. We did a great show. He was on fire. I said, Zach, he asked me, how can I help? No, he didn't ask me, which is okay. Some people are going to forget, hey, how can I support you? I said, hey, Zach, can I ask a favor? Yeah, sure. What? I said, can you introduce me to Forbes Riley? Love to have her on my show. She's a perfect fit. Sure. Hour later, I got an email. 3 days later, she was on my show. And he said, no, I can't. She doesn't go on your podcast. Great, Zach. Thank you. By the way, here's another referral. Let's talk soon. I'll get this out to you. Yeah. That story is so easy to do because here's the problem when people say no to us on both sides. The person telling me no is feeling uncomfortable. How's he going to react? He's a good guy. And then I'm feeling, God, how do I respond to a no? Okay, I understand. People always say, yeah, I understand. You don't have the money right now. Go, oh, no, no problem. We'll follow up on that. But by the way, here's something else for you. I've had people come back to some of the people I'm mentoring months later and go, that one conversation, I signed up with you because you still were giving, like I said earlier, I was still giving even though I said no to you.
Yeah. It comes back all the time. A lot more than if you didn't do it at all.
Yes. Absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about your heart-led business and what you're doing and what makes it a heart-led business.
Well, the podcast has been the beginning of this. As I said, I think it's the new networking group because a podcast, and if don't have a podcast out there, I mentor podcast people. I get them started. I'm actually doing one today. And if I do it monthly for free, that's one thing that I do from a heartfelt business.
Yeah.
Give stuff away for free. I'm not saying 10 hours a week. I'm not saying whatever you can do. I do 1 hour a month for podcast and 2 hours a month for business mentoring at no cost.
Wow.
So it's 3 hours out of my month. Is it affecting my business? Hell no. It's building my business because the universe goes, Steve, I'm proud to say this. You're helping people. You're doing good things. I did a business mentoring Monday with 3 ladies before we got off there. Oh my God, thank you, Steve. Oh my God, we've learned so much. I appreciate your time. And one of the ladies I've been working with for 4 weeks, she wasn't going to start a business. Now she's looking to start a business. She's getting a mentor. And I tell you, the feeling when I got off that Zoom call was just ecstatic.
Wow.
The other thing I'm doing besides the podcast and the mentoring is in the renewable energy space. We're taking landowners and partnering up with renewable energy. Power is a big problem in this world and in the United States. For people to grow, developers that have projects, whether industrial or residential or commercial, we can come in. But now we're building jobs. We've got a couple Indian reservations where we're serving them, get them jobs, get them revenue. And it's so cool because when you get tied to social impact to it, philanthropic, in a sense, and still make money and everybody's happy, it's a home run.
That's the heart-led business as well. Now, the renewable, is it that like solar and wind?
Solar, hydrogen, and wind.
Hydrogen. Oh, okay. Oh, cool.
And we've got a partner, Wind IQ, just is the new wind turbine. You've probably all seen, listening, the big ones, the big propellers, 1,000 birds a month. Animals can't be around it. They're really affecting the environment. They're not good. And their lot of them are being torn down. This one is 30 feet tall, doesn't use propellers, uses one box that spins.
Oh.
So you can put it in your backyard and power your house. And the big ones need about 13 miles an hour wind, which is a lot of wind to really get going. Plus there's hydrogen in the bottom of them. So it's not, but it possibly could be. Ours is 2.5 miles an hour and it's generating power.
Oh, wow.
Maintenance in once every 3 years because it's just one unit. And you can paint, you can make it aesthetic. We've got people thinking about putting this in a park and having the kids paint on it with graphics and pictures and stuff to make it pretty, even though it's a renewable energy. And the other ones, you just can't do that. So we're excited because we're bringing out new technology. It's really going to change the world.
It's cool because it's a smaller footprint as well.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, I live
cheaper.
in Taiwan, and there's huge amount of the wind projects going offshore, and there's some onshore as well. And I tell you what, those big propellers, and it's just an eyesore, to be honest.
It really is. And they're not working all the time because of the 13 mile. So you got that eyesore there that's not really helping the power.
Yeah.
Fortunately, this is going to make a big change, make a big difference.
Oh, that's cool. Awesome. So the crux of the show is really about how you balance making a profit and still being heart-led. So at the top of the show, in your introduction, it's 5.5 billion in projects. And I'm sure a lot of people are like, oh, no, not heart-led with that. But how are you balancing the profit and the heart-led piece of it?
More abundance I get, more abundance I can get.
Perfectly said.
If I make 10 million this year, I can go build a home sports complex for kids to have some place they can go, get out of the house, get off the cell phone and play basketball, hit a baseball, gaming, whatever that may be, but getting kids back to community right off the bat. That's one of my goals.
Oh, that's lovely.
Not all successful people with a lot of money do that, but that's what I'm going to do. And the guys I've talked to have done that. It just leads to more abundance.
Yeah.
You get abundance, you give it, you get more abundance, you give it. It becomes this beautiful cycle of everybody's happy. When you do something, I watch stories, you've probably seen stories, that quick one, my wife was showing me Good Morning America, and this young kid has been in the hospital 17 times and arthritis and not a good life so far. And they walked up to him and they said, here's $1,000 or 2 tickets to the Philadelphia Eagles game. He's a big Eagles fan, lives in Philadelphia. He took the tickets. He's never been.
Yeah.
But what this guy did, which is what I would do, and I would love to do, is he goes, you know what? Here's the $1,000. Wow. Now the kid's got $1,000. But what he did was he stood at the counter at the checkout stand. He bought everybody's groceries until the $1,000 was gone. Hey, let me get your groceries today. Never kept any of the $1,000.
Wow.
Heartfelt from a kid, but that's what heartfelt business does. That story. Now, here's the end of the story. Bradley Cooper, huge Philadelphia Eagles fan. They had this kid and his family at Good Morning America, and they brought the Eagles cheerleader. They made a whole hoopla about this, which is really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
They gave him a little toy of the mascot. He gave it to his sister. Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But Bradley Cooper comes running out and gives him 4 tickets to the Super Bowl.
Oh, my gosh.
For the whole family. Now, he's only second game ever. Eagles are playing. And Bradley Cooper had him in his arms. If you watch the Super Bowl, if anybody watched the Super Bowl, the kid that was in his arms was this kid I'm telling you about.
Oh.
That's what a heartfelt business. He didn't give the $1,000 away to go to the Super Bowl. He had no idea. He just did it. That's what happens when you're a heartfelt business and your abundance leads to more. But how many people did he feed? How many of those people barely could pay their groceries, have debt? They're adding more debt. Now they don't have. Another quick story. I love talking about this stuff. So I tell people when you're having a tough day and things aren't falling in place, go serve somebody. What a great way to get out of the funk. Maybe it's 5 minutes, 5 hours, but it's a good thing to do. The universe loves that and gets you out of your head a lot. So I did that. A lot of things were happening that day. So I left at 2:00. I don't usually leave my office. I went to a grocery store and stood in line. Nobody was there, but this lady had a baby in her arms. And I just leaned to the clerk. I'm in California, so this is why he did respond. He goes, dude, what are you doing? You don't buy people's groceries. Dude, that's crazy. I said, just do me a favor. It's something I had a calling, I had this feeling, and finally did it. It wasn't a lot of money, but it doesn't matter. So I buy my groceries and I walk out. And she starts tearing up. Her name was Debbie. And I said, oh, Debbie, I did not want to upset you. She goes, no, Steve, I'm super joyful right now. My husband lost his job last week. We didn't know how we were going to pay for the food for our baby.
Wow.
I stepped back and I said, thank you. I appreciate that. And it was a great thing that I did, but there's a greater thing that's going to happen. Subconscious, what I was thinking was, wanted to give, wanted to serve without recourse. Look what happened. But what's going to happen when Debbie goes home and talks to her husband? Tell that story.
Yep.
And most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, how can we help somebody else? And then you get the chain of events.
Yep.
And that's all happened without me thinking about it. It was just, to me, it's a spiritual. Holy Spirit was calling me to just help her out. I got the money. She had a baby. Maybe it was the baby. I don't know. But look what transpired with a heartfelt activity or a heartfelt business. It's why I absolutely love your show and love you as a host, because this is a game changer for people. And you need to listen to these shows, not just mine, others, because it can make a change in somebody's life and an impact and difference.
Yeah. If there were more people doing exactly what you did, the world would be such a richer place because of it. And a couple things came to mind when you were talking about that. I had an experience where I was going through a drive-through at Starbucks and somebody had started the buy behind me thing. And so everybody was like, okay, so they bought my coffee. Now I'm going to buy them their coffee too. And it was just this chain of reaction. And it was such a great, I was like, that's like really cool. I hope they don't have 5 lattes behind me or something like that. But let's not drink coffee. Come on. This is
Oh, yeah. How did you feel for the next few hours? You remember?
I told lots of people about it too, because that's what we do. When something like extraordinary happens, we tell more people about it. the negative side and the positive side. If you get a complaint, there's 10 other people that have that same complaint, and they tell 10 people about their complaint. But with the good things that happen that are extraordinary, people tell other people. And it's just that great change.
Oh my God, you opened the door. Watch out. Because this is a huge door you just opened. If audience, you want to learn how to, because I get asked all the time, Thomas, you're like an expert. You're probably bigger than I am. We know how to serve. We figure it out. We ask and listen. I have this principle, ask, shut up, listen, ask, shut up. Because that's how you can serve. Oh, what do you really need? They will tell you. So I go to restaurants all the time, and I've been doing it for years, and I'll got to be genuine, and I'll grab the waitress or waiter and go, hey, can you grab your manager? Oh, what's up? Can I help you? Oh, no. Can you grab your manager? I do that purposely because I'll watch and they walk over and it's this. They're like, what the hell? Figure it out. What did you do? What am I walking into? And I did this at a cheese factory. We're at the bar. She was great. We only had 5 pot stickers instead of 6. She told us right away, we're discounting your product. We ran out. We're sorry. She was serviceable. Water was all that. She was really good. So I did that. Her manager walked over shaking, physically shaking, and said, no. And why don't we do that? And then that's the crazy thing to me. And I went to her and said, this is one of the best waitresses I've worked with. If I had a restaurant, I'd take her from you. That's how good she was. You're not starting a restaurant, are you? No. I'm just telling you, that's how good she was. Freaking out a little bit. To really serve even more when you do this. And audience, go out and do that. And by the way, read people's names and call them by their names. That's a simple way to serve people. So I said, Terry was her name. I said, how often do you hear this? Well, Steve, I've been here a year. I've probably heard it twice. My staff is doing good. In a year? Yeah. Mm-hmm. I've talked to over 150 managers now. About 140 of them get 1 or 2 a year. The other 10 were just such good cuts. And they ask, hey, where staff is doing good, let us know. So audience, here's a tip, and I'm going to write a book about this. Be a better customer. Don't just be complaining. We have customer service books all over the internet, all over Amazon, and they're great. But also flips on the customer side. And yelling at somebody because their food was cold. You could do that or go, hey, Thomas, my food's cold. Can you check it out and see what we can do? Oh, my God, it is cold. Let me fix that for you.
Yeah. Being a better customer, you're going to, one, get better service because you are complimentary and people want to do business with you. As my mama says, you can get more flies with honey than with vinegar.
Amen. I did this to another place. BJ doesn't matter, BJ Sport. And we did this with the waitress. The manager came over. She was super excited. Oh my God, I really appreciate it. The waitress came back. She goes, you know what? I work at the 49ers Stadium. You guys ever come by, I'll get you free drinks.
Oh my gosh.
Now, I didn't say she was good. I was being genuine because she was good. This is the heartfelt business. Again, I'm going to go back to your podcast. The ROI, you don't know what it's going to be. I didn't ask for it, but it does happen. Does it happen all the time? Absolutely not. We get fearful when we serve and heartfelt. When, where, and how is it going to happen? Take that out of your mindset. Just do, take action. Do, take action. It'll eventually happen. And sometimes big and sometimes small.
Yep. Yeah. And I want to go back a little bit where you said about just shutting up and listening to the other person because they'll tell you exactly what they want. And that is exactly the sales philosophy that I have as well. When you're sitting with a prospect, it's you ask the question and then you zip it up and shut up and let them talk. There's so many salespeople that go into a conversation and it's just, I'm so great. This is so great. My product's wonderful. They didn't know nothing about that prospect. And so this, not only is a heart-led business, but in sales and every aspect of life, the more you ask and just shut up and listen, the richer you're going to be in knowledge and just making those connections with people.
Yeah. I've never said this on a podcast, and I'm going to say it now. There's people that do like this. How long have you been in business? 10 years. Okay, why do you do your business? Oh, I'm passionate about helping kids. And then it's, you know what? I've got this software you need to buy because it'll help you grow. Yeah, they ask questions, but they didn't show up and listen.
They didn't listen.
Because I hear people say, I ask questions all the time, and I go through a scenario like, you didn't listen to one thing I said.
That's an interrogation.
Yeah. That's it. I'm going to borrow that.
Well, yeah, sometimes it feels like that. I was on a podcast interview that was an interrogation. It felt like because there was no conversation, there was no like banter back and forth, which makes it a lot more interesting for people to listen to.
Sure. Oh yeah, that's what podcasts should be. And these are gifts. I say at the end of all my podcast, subscribe to my YouTube channel, but not so I have subscribers, but you have that link because it gets sent to you. And if you listen to it and it resonates with you, or you can help somebody, another way to serve, send them that podcast link. Go, hey, I just listened to Thomas. Oh my God, a couple of these tips you were talking about. Maybe they reach out, maybe they don't. Maybe the podcast answers their questions.
Yeah.
You just gave that Christmas gift.
Yeah. On
a Saturday, February 29th or March 1st, you gave a Christmas gift.
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. Steve, this has been just a wonderful conversation. I can't believe that we're almost at time here, but so many great nuggets. And I think this is definitely an episode people need to listen to a couple times to really let it sink in. But the giver mentality is so important in business. So how can people learn a little bit more about what you do and get connected with the Super Connector?
I love that. Steve R 1961 at Gmail. My email. Email me anytime. LinkedIn. I play on LinkedIn all the time. Steve Ramona, Ramona, should be the only Steve Ramona. But either one of those ways you can connect with me. You can check out our website for energy, renewable energy, anemosglobal.com, anemosglobal.com, and can learn more about some of the projects that we're doing to have a heartfelt business. And again, I want to thank you, Thomas. This is such a great podcast, and more people need to hear it. Not just because he wants subscribers, but this message has to get out.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for saying that, Steve. And thanks for being on the show. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And thank you, listeners, for watching or listening to the show today. We really do appreciate it. And make sure you're checking out what Steve is doing. And he just gave you his Gmail accounts. So send him an email and see those gifts come back to you 100%, 100 times over. And if you could do me a solid favor and do what other considerate listeners are doing, and that is giving the show a rating and review, because that helps us share the show with more people and makes it gets found. So if you could do that for me, I would certainly appreciate it. And I know you'll feel great by doing it. And until next time, lead with your heart.
You've been listening to the Heart-Led Business Show, hosted by Tom Jacobs. Join us next time for another inspiring journey into the heart of business.